Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy, channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all these sectors and topics, looking for potential investment opportunities and sharing those opportunities with everyone. We also go over fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and a whole bunch of other things. If that interests you, we do have a coupon code special. Is the coupon code that is active right now. It is 50% off the first month only and a larger discount on the yearly membership if you'd like to sign up for a yearly membership. Let's dive in, take a look, see what's going on, starting with the DXY. Big volatility today. That's what this big wick at the top is here. We traded way up in the dollar and came back down with the momentum coming back down. So if you were to look at that, you can see the big gap up in the morning there and then the movement lower. So the dollar did end up about almost 0.4% today. But with this wick at the top and the momentum coming back down, it is possible that we could start to head a little bit lower. But again, like anything in the short term, we have to see if that materializes tomorrow. We've got a rising wedge. We've broken that to the downside, and we've got a little bit of craziness coming to the upside with all this tariff stuff. The 2-year yield, we did break to the upside here, this little falling wedge that I drew in there. It's up 1% today, but we are also up against resistance right where we're at. So we'll see where we go, if we punch through or if we roll over tomorrow. And I'm sure all of these will have an impact on what the dollar does too, DXY specifically. US 10-year Treasury yield, we're right at the tip here, and it looked like it was trying to break lower in the morning, but momentum brought that back up. So if we go to the short term, we can see we came lower, and then we swapped momentum and we're heading higher. So this does look good to go higher, and we'll see if we can break out of this to the upside. And then the 30-year yield doing the same exact thing. It tried going lower. The yields came up, and this does look like it wants to go higher. So it'd be the sellers in the bond market pushing yields higher. TYX TNX ratio slightly lower, which means it inverted some. And again, we're still at this really low level, and we've been bouncing around here. Gold doesn't mind it. Generally, gold does real well when this goes up, and we can still do that. But we're at a very low level, and we are staying low. Bond prices up a little bit today. We're kind of at this resistance area through there. We're stuck in the mud, is what I like to call it, in both directions. And we're kind of just waiting to see where this thing ends up. If I were to guess, I'm guessing lower because yields look like they want to go higher on the 10 and the 30-year yields. 2 and the 10, we are up, so the yield curve inverted today. That is with the 2-year going up 1%, the 10-year slightly lower, down 0.2%. It's been a real tough read. A lot of the times we go through these cycles. When you cycle down, that's where you get your recessions. But this cycle, we've been hanging up here for a very long time compared to other cycles. And we're right in the thick of the demographic to buy homes, which increases credit. So demographic wise, we're looking good. But we also have increased yields at a ridiculously fast pace. And sometimes we can see slowdowns after we do that. So we're kind of at that spot where it's like, are we going to come back up and have another inflationary wave, or are we going to come back down in a recession and get maybe disinflation, or I don't know if we're going to get outright deflation, but that's kind of where everybody, I think, is trying to figure out right now. Gold's up $22 an ounce. Pretty big day. Pretty big day, and it looks really good. We've broken out of this resistance to the upside, and it has been a pretty fun ride ever since breaking through here. It's been up, 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 and up. So that still looks good. Whenever this, keep in mind when gold goes up, sometimes oil kind of stays down. When this does chop sideways, much like we did starting in 2020, we could see another inflationary wave where this chops a little bit. But right now, it looks good. Looks good to go higher. Silver is also higher, up 0.74. We have broken the pattern here to the upside, and I would be looking for a move higher. So I've been a bull. I've been a bull for a while on silver. I've been a bull ever since down here. I really loaded into it all down through here. Popped higher, added that nice little pattern that we usually see, that fractal, and that's broken to the upside. This all looks really bullish on a longer term time frame to go way higher. So I've just been long in a lot of this stuff here. Platinum getting a little bit of a shellacking, down 4% today. We had a real big rise here these past 3 days before today. Some selling pressure. We are trying to break through this big pattern here, and I can squeeze the tops here. Now, it depends how you draw this. If I draw it on the closing prices, what we've got here is, and I'm going to draw it like that. You can draw it on some of these closing prices. You potentially have a breakout retest on the monthly candlestick if we were to close on the month strong. The weeklies are going to look a little bit different because your closings are a little bit higher, so you got to move that up. And we haven't broken out of the weekly candlestick yet. So we'll see. We are entering this corner here, and I think we're going to get a big break whenever it decides to break out. We've got palladium down 2% today, and that still looks good to go higher. It's just one of those little bloody noses. We came from this falling wedge upward, and it looks good. It looks really good. GDX up 1.5%. And if gold continues to go higher, I'd like to see this move. We are sitting on top of a bunch of support. So your support resistance is all down here. We have this gigantic flag pattern, much like uranium looks like. And we've broken that to the upside. I think we're going to run if gold continues higher. I'm surprised we're not running already. GDXJ is up 1.5%. And we are above this resistance, which is now support. I think it looks really good. We can rip. Now, people are going to say, how come it's not going up? How come it's not going up? Well, we need money to rotate out of other sectors, specifically technology and S&P, and I think this will start to take off. If gold remains high and people aren't making money in other sectors, money starts to rotate. It chases price performance. SILJ up 1.5%. Again, this is kind of this big pattern that we've got going there. Today we're up, and it looks fine. Everything looks fine and dandy there. Kind of just a small up candlestick. There's no real structure through that circle there. But what I think is going to occur in the long term is that we'll eventually get up here, whenever that is, and break out of this pattern here. But I think we need pain in other sectors before that happens to get the money to rotate. XEU to gold ratio, we are up 0.8% today. Little update. Now we are at ridiculously low levels. And I know people get impatient. They want things to happen immediately. I understand it. Totally, I'm empathetic to that position. This is gold and silver mining divided by gold. We are at really low levels. This is where the opportunity is. When you look at low levels like this, that's an opportunity. So they're going to start earning more cash. Money's going to start to not be, it depends if tech rolls over in S&P, and eventually this will all start to rotate. It just takes time. Crude oil up 0.5%. We are breaking through this downtrend here. We're right on top of it. If we kind of back out a little bit, we're underneath this resistance line that we haven't broken yet. And I can draw this differently too. This is on a weekly candlestick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the closing prices, like down here. And that basically we're right on top of it, right where that closing price is. So this could be a breakout retest if you use closing prices. So again, we'll see if that's the case or not. I'm in the bull camp. We're coming into seasonality for oil. I think we're going to go higher here at some point. TTF gas up 1%. We're right at resistance of this upper channel. This upper channel is this guy right there. We're right on top of it. We'll see if we can punch through. Natural gas in America up 10% today. Lots of volatility. We've broken the uptrend here downward. We were at that longer term resistance, this blue line through here. That guy, we were at this resistance. We kind of came back down, and we'll see if we can break through it with time. We are coming into a weak spot seasonality wise for nat gas in the spring. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, down 0.19%. It's holding strong, and we are above support. That's right where we're at. We are below resistance too of this neckline. We've got OIH down slightly, the energy service companies. The momentum is still downward at this exact moment. And oil seasonality generally bottoms in February, and that's where we're located. We've got Newcastle coal futures down 2.5%. You know, a lot of stuff sold off today. I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the market with tariffs. This does look like it's trying to bottom here, so I'd give it some time. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust up 0.73% today. Not a bad showing, given kind of what was going on in the markets. And we're still in that big flag pattern and nothing's changed from my perspective. And I still think this will break higher. Uranium futures pricing is back within the pattern up here. We're right kind of on top of it. And I do think this will break to the upside. It's a falling wedge. URA down slightly, down 1.1 above support. URNM down slightly, and URNJ down a little bit more, 2.2%. Not a bad spot to be looking if we can get shares down there, my opinion. Copper up 1%. Looks like it's trying to break out here. I did see manufacturing PMI, I think it was PMI. It was above 50, which is growing. So we could see this break to the upside. It's a good candlestick today. We traded down, big wick at the bottom. We opened here, traded down, came back up and closed up in a bullish engulfing. That is right at support resistance, and that looks good to try to break higher. It looks really solid here for copper. COPX, the mining company's down 0.5%, not sharing the same enthusiasm as the underlying commodity. Iron ore right underneath that resistance kind of line going through here. We'll see if we can get a break any second. This is your dead period right here, where your buyers equal to sellers and you get a contraction in your opening and closing prices. It looks good to go higher. Aluminum up 1%. We're still underneath that stupid resistance line, but we are coming on up with these lows. So that looks good, and hopefully we can get some momentum to break out. Might take a little bit of time, but it's working it. Nickel moving sideways. No updates there. We've got Mu down 1.6, a little bit of selling pressure today. We hit some resistance there and kind of came back off that resistance. Emerging markets selling off a little bit, 0.7% pulling on back, but momentum is coming back up throughout the day. KRE down 2%, looking like we dropped a little bit. We've got some good support below us here, so it'll probably be all right. TAN down 1.7. This thing is really struggling. It needs cheaper interest rates and more money. Lithium down 2%. That's also coming back within the pattern here, squeezing into this corner there. REMX down 1%, right on top of support. We'll see if it holds. Baltic Dry Index up 2.8. Let's see if we can get a turn here. This is at a really, really cheap price down here for Baltic Dry Index. Really cheap. I would be looking. Look how cheap we are in comparison to history. We are way cheap. And we've pulled on back. So let's see if we can try to bottom here for Baltic. XHB pulling on back 2.5%. There we are. This is not a longer-term bullish picture. We did come up in a rising wedge, broke to the downside. We do have a bullish engulfing here and small candlesticks, which makes me think we could try to go higher, but we'll see if that materializes. Russell down 1.2 or 1.3%, pulling on back today. You know, it's kind of a unique day today. It's not with the tariffs and all this other news coming out. SPX down up 0.76. Extend that out, hitting support. NASDAQ down, and we're back within this falling pattern, falling wedge pattern, or I should say flag pattern. SMCI down 5.86%. I can kind of bring this up bring this over, kind of another falling wedge going on. And Nvidia down 2.8. Looks a little bit toppy to me, and we could see it pull on back. Bitcoin, huge reversal today. My Lord, look at the reversal on this thing, all the way down to about 91.9 and ended up 4.26%. Stick save is what I say. Ethereum down 5.66 after absolutely going all the way back down here. Crazy volatility happening in crypto. I'd like to see how this plays out. We've got MicroStrategy putting in a bullish engulfing, which could go higher, surprisingly, with the Bitcoin action too. Yeah, surprising to me. I thought this was going to head lower. And then the VIX, lots of volatility today, heading higher, 13% up. Volatility all over the place here. And this could spike, guys. We could see a spike in volatility, which means could get a big sell-off or something like that. But that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Special is that coupon code that you guys are looking for savings. Midweek update will be coming, this week in the midweek, and everything's posted for the question and answer session that we had this weekend. But that's all I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.